the bang, we the bang, we the bang, we the bang. AaroniMoses, AaroniMoses, we the bang, we the bang, we the bang, we the bang. Hey, like, share, comment, subscribe, 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 like, share, comment, subscribe. Yo, what up? It's AaroniMoses, and yo, what up, bang gangers? It's AaroniMoses, and I got this video request from a lot of you guys. A video on pills. Now I'm gonna start from A and go to the rest of the alphabet. First of all, everything I can think of. I used to be a big pill popper. You know, I don't do drugs now. I mean, with the exception of alcohol, smoke a little bit of weed, but I'm not big into drugs. I'm pretty sure I could find it because everybody says where I live is so goddamn drug infested and dangerous. There has to be fucking drugs out here. But yeah, first, starting with A, is Adderall. Adderall, I tried Adderall when I was 19. I got introduced to it by the homeboy, Cheeseburger. Shout out to Cheeseburger G from Joliet. He had a little script of it, gave me some, and that's when I first thought I had adult ADHD. Cause at first, I mean, it did the same thing that cocaine did to me. It made me feel super fucking focused. And after that, after I did a little bit more, I experienced the speed and all of that. And the next time I did it, I was 23, and that shit was like cocaine. I guess maybe you have to get used to it or whatever the fuck. I'm not sure, but I was walking, zoom, 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 zoom. I was at the homie's house. Shout out to Funds. I left my headphones on the couch and I went back and they weren't there, and I went back and I was walking really fast. That is not a drug that I would do. You know, I'm a downers person. But, I mean, if you want to substitute for cocaine or some kind of upper, I don't know how much they cost. I didn't buy them, so I can't really tell you that. B, haven't done any drugs that start with B. C, codeine pills. Codeine pills are just like fucking, they're just like lean. They're just lean in the shape of a fucking pill. What I did when I had them, I crushed them up and I put them in some Robitussin, and it was already promethazine in it, so I was fucked up. I think I usually, when I try a pill, I crush it and I pump it, but I don't remember really feeling anything. I think I felt slowness, but I was like, you know what, I really don't feel shit. And it didn't sting, which was pretty cool. Next, I tried some shit, I don't know what it's called. It was a citrus, it's called like citramine or some shit like that. It's a little orange pill, and it tastes like citrus, and I think it burns when you blow it. But one of the homies' girls brought it through, and she was like, yeah, I took these from my mom or whatever. They taste like citrus, and the side effect is vomiting. And I'm thinking like, I didn't take that seriously, but we were all already fucking drunk as shit, alright? Smoking weed and all that. If you know where Foxborough is in Wheeling, that's where we were. In the back, there's a pond, and there is some complexes behind that pond. We were right there. So, or I guess south of the pond. So we're doing it. And all I hear is, it sounds like somebody turn on water. And I look over, it's the homie John throwing up. And I was like, what the fuck, nigga, you threw up, blah, blah, blah. And I'm laughing and shit. And I was like, oh shit, I'm not supposed to throw up. And I got up, it's fucking 4 of us lined up like fucking, like fucking king of the hill on the fence, yakking, straight up fucking blowing them chunks, bro. That shit was nasty. The pill, I mean, it was definitely an opiate, but I wouldn't recommend it. That's just not good. A, B, C, D. I haven't done anything that starts with a D. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. Haven't done anything that starts with H. Ibuprofen, no. J. Actually, if you're in Cook County Jail, they give you ibuprofen, and if you haven't done any drugs, smoked a cigarette, anything like that, you will get high off ibuprofen. I'm thinking it's just because of the food and just not smoking cigarettes or anything. I don't recommend getting high off, because that shit will fuck up your stomach. And if you Google, what the stories that people have when they have overdosed on ibuprofen and they try to kill themselves, you just have a fucking horrible ass stomachache and you'll die. A painful ass death. So yeah, don't try to get high off ibuprofens, even if they're the fat ass ones. So J, H, I, J, K, L, LM. I tried morphine. That is one of the worst experiences that I've ever had with any fucking drug. Let me tell you what happened. So my homeboy, don't want to say his name, brought the fucking morphines because he was selling them and shit. He was selling them for like, I think, I don't know, they were the fat ass ones though. I think they were like, I don't fucking know. They're like the size of my thumbnail. Alright. And he gave me half. He gave me both because I was supposed to give one to somebody else at school for him, you know, to make the transaction for him and shit. And then he said, when you do that, eat the other half, if you please. So of course, this is when I was like 15. I was like 15, 5'5", 120 pounds. You know what I'm saying? A little skinny, little bony ass kid. So he was like, bro, just eat half. And I was inexperienced, so I didn't really think to crush it up and, you know, test it. I just ate the whole thing. 30 minutes later, oh, I couldn't feel shit, bro. I was so fucked up. This fucking girl, Yosha, she flicked the rubber band at me, and I was so high, bro. This is like one of the highest I've ever been in my life. And I watched it, like bullet time, hit my arm, and I didn't feel shit. And I looked at it and looked at her, and she was like, you are fucked up. I get to my fucking next period, my hair is all, I had braids, I'm fucking pulling them bitches out, my hair is all fucked up. I skipped the really important part though. So I was feeling really good. I was feeling so fucking good, like drugs, you know what I mean? So I went to lunch, and I had bread, of course, at the time. So I got lunch, I got like a large fry, hella fucking chicken, what were they, chicken tenders, a Gatorade, all that shit. By the time I sat down and looked at that food, I just got nauseous. From that point, not sure why, but everything just went downhill. I just started feeling sick as hell, sick as fuck. So I gave all my food away with the exception of my blue Gatorade, and I went to my next class. So I'm fucking sitting back, doing like this with my hair, just trying to keep myself awake. And I hear the homie coming in laughing loud as fuck, obnoxiously. And he fucking, I guess he sat in the same aisle as me or row or whatever. And he just looked at me, he was like, oh, fuck, bro. My eyes were all glazed, apparently, like, and it was picture day, too. I walked to the picture day, got back, I don't remember shit. All I remember is getting on the fucking bus. I threw up on the bus. I threw up at the park when I smoked some weed, and I walked home and threw up again, passed the fuck out, woke up, smoked some weed. It was horrible, bro. I was sick for like 2 or 3 days. That was bad. In Oh, I tried oxy, condone, or cotton. I think it was cotton. It was cotton. I tried the oxycontin. That shit was lame. It just made me feel sleepy. It didn't make me feel high at all. It really just made me feel sleepy. And I'm thinking like, okay, maybe the high comes from you being able to fight the sleepiness. No, no. I just felt fucking sleepy. And I smoked cigarettes and that shit like killed the high, I guess. I wasn't high. You know, I tried to drink a couple beers with it, didn't do shit. But I remember something, I kept falling asleep. It's like fucking 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm fucking leaning like a dope fiend and shit. And something just told me to jack off. So I went in the bathroom and handled it and shit, and I was sober. I was sober as a fucking saint. So wouldn't recommend that shit. I mean, I wouldn't recommend any opiate, but next, element, Vicodin. Vicodin is actually out of all the pills I've ever tried, Vicodin is my favorite pill. Vicodin and Xannies. Vicodin makes you feel fucking numb. It makes you feel high. It is, I mean, all the times that I mixed it with alcohol, if the times that I did it, if I was overdoing it, something bad would happen. The high, that's just like fucking crack, bro. I never tried crack, but from what I hear, that shit only lasts like maybe 30 minutes to an hour. Like me, I would snort some. I would get 2. I would crush them up in separate pieces of paper, and I would eat one and just keep blowing lines until the other pill kicks in, and then just wait that out, drink, smoke. The reason that I liked Vicodin so much is that you can actually feel the difference, and a lot of their hydrocodones or they have Watsons on them. The word Watson, the name Watson, is because you can feel the separation between your weed, your alcohol, and your cigarettes and your pills. It makes you feel, if you don't know what the fuck you're doing, that shit will make you feel really, really shitty. And when you wake up, you will feel like you did some hard ass drugs. Like you did a whole bunch of Molly and drank hard all night, you know. But if you know what you're doing, like in moderation type shit, you'll be okay. Lastly, Xanax. The Xanax is cool, but Xanax is like a cigarette, you know. I've never gotten high just off of any pill by itself besides fucking morphine. But Xanax, I mean, it fucks with your memory. It's like fucking ecstasy how it can make you go from really chill and positive and all fucking, you know, on a cloud to make you feel really aggressive. Like that shit makes you bipolar, bro. And if you're already bipolar, don't fuck with that shit. If you are already making snap decisions with your life, if you're a fighter, anything like that, fuck all that fucking weird ass music where people tell you to do Xanax and shit like that. Don't do that shit, cause that's just like liquid. Not liquid. That's just like, first of all, it's like weed. So you might as well smoke some weed and get the rest of the trippy ass feeling. Xanax it cools you down. It's like lean, you know. It cools you down. It fucking. It gives you basically the same effect as weed. And it makes you all numb and shit. I mean, a lot of people, honestly, I don't really remember my experiences with Xanny too well, but everybody says that it's really hard to overdose on Xanax and you can't really overdose. And people, when I was growing up, when I was in high school, nobody was getting addicted to Xanax. People are now getting addicted. People are now going to rehab for that shit. People didn't really, that I knew of, didn't start getting addicted to Xanax until they were in their senior year. But I wouldn't recommend it. Just because you can take so much, your tolerance raises. I knew this chick who said she took like 12 fucking Xannies. My cousin said he did like fucking 20 when he was in the military. And that's probably why his ass is schizophrenic right now, honestly. Roxy, I skipped one. Roxy's a pretty awesome fucking drug too, but it's like morphine and Vicodin mixed together, because that's exactly what it is. It's just fucking heroin, you know. It's just, I never tried heroin. I've done every drug, including opium, except I've never done meth, I've never done crack cocaine, and I've never done like straight up heroin. As far as Roxy's and the Oxys and all the fucking synthetic heroin in a pill, yes, I'm pretty much have done. I haven't done those like little blow pop things, whatever drug that is. I'm not a fucking pill connoisseur anymore. I've been out of that life for so fucking long, but I'm pretty sure there's pills that I've done I haven't named. Probably 3. I pretty much just stuck to the same shit, just the same. Let me get my hydros and leave me the fuck alone, you know. As soon as I found hydrocodone, I knew that was gonna be my thing. When I was 16, my mom got surgery, and I'm already I don't fucking paint myself as this saint, although I do try to help people when I can, and you know, my self-help videos are popping pretty much. But my mom had surgery, and she is not, you know, it says that it's a fucking narcotic on it, and I know she wasn't gonna go. She only took 3 of them, so she took them the first day after her surgery, and like the second day, and maybe the 3rd day, and she got a fat ass bottle of them. And just because I didn't want my mom to become a fucking, you know, heroin addict eventually because of the surgery, I took them and I sold them at school. Now, I was charging people way too fucking much, and I didn't know that. So, it was my duty as a responsible teenage drug dealer to see what the fuck I was working with. So I broke one in half, tried it, and I fucking knew. I knew she was the one. That's not funny. But after that, I proceeded to sell the rest of my mom's fucking hydros. I left her like 3. She didn't need them. I'm talking about, this is months later, alright? So she wasn't like in pain and where's my pills? That's not what it was, alright? If you think that, I still don't give a fuck. So yeah, that's how everything started. Percocets, I forgot about Percocets. Percocets was actually one of the first pills I've ever tried. Honestly, this is like 2000. This is right after Pimp C died. So in Atlanta, after Pimp C died, I don't know where all this fucking lean came from, but it hit. It hit. Right after that, especially in the high schools, really fucking hard. But I was eating Percocets every goddamn day, but I didn't know the effects of Percocets because I was getting really high before school. I was smoking a lot of weed before school, and I was sipping the lean, and I didn't take them until I got on the bus, and we would blow them. So it really didn't do. I didn't recognize it as this is the effect of Percocets, and that's probably why I never got addicted to that shit. Besides the fact that it takes a while for my body to actually get addicted to shit, with the exception of like cocaine. I've never been addicted to cocaine, but the fact that I just, when I first did it, how I responded, it's just, that's just what it is. Okay, if you do coke, you know what I'm talking about. Or if you've ever done it, you know what I'm talking about. I did the first one. I did my first line of coke, and I didn't feel it, so I wanted more. And it wasn't just me saying, I don't feel it, let me get another one. It was something in my body like, I want some more of this shit, you know? That's not how Percocet, that's just how my body is. But the thing with the Percocets was, it was just an enhancement for my other drug usage. It was just something that made the lean last a lot longer and the effects of the weed last a lot longer, and I was fucked up. So I couldn't tell the real difference between the weed, the lean, and the Percocets. That's why I chose hydrocodone, because I could feel the difference. I could actively feel the difference between the hydrocodone and the beer, whatever the fuck I was doing. Perks, didn't really feel that. The whole fucking time that I was doing Percocets every goddamn day, I'm talking about like every day, every single day. My whole, what was it, sophomore year, you know, I can't to this day tell you how Percocets feels, because I never did it by itself. I've never really done any pill by itself besides those two that I named for you. So, yeah, that's it. That's AaroniMoses in the laundry room, talking about some shit I shouldn't be talking about. Being a hypocrite because I just said Drake shouldn't have said that he did Lane and he started doing drugs because he was hanging out with Wayne. I was a little kid, but, you know, I was still doing grown man shit. That's not really grown man shit, that's junkie shit. That's fucking drugs. So that's it, man. Like, share, comment, subscribe. Tell me what you think about this. You know, socialize with me, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter even. Hit me on Snapchat. Let's get this music up. Let's get this money together. And let's do all that good, fine, dandy shit. Alright? It's AaroniMoses. Peace. I am. So I forgot that I did actually 4 more pills. Probably more than that. One was trazodone, tramadol, somas, and Klonopins. Alright, so I'm not exactly sure what the fuck a Klonopin is. I don't know if it's an opiate, I don't know if it's a benzo, but that shit felt just like Xannies. And I remembered pretty much everything. I bought them for like fucking $3. And they were more of a, I think Klonopins are a painkiller. Klonopins, I think they're either, Klonopins are a muscle relaxer. So I felt really good. I was drinking. I freestyled my ass off. And that was definitely a factor. I have a freestyle called Freestyle with Jake. And I have a freestyle called Caps Lock with the homie Chino. Shout out to Chino, he brought them. But those were straight. And then somas, I think somas are generic for Xanax. They do the same shit. They do the exact same shit. And then, because I remember when I was selling Xanny, I just told the homies they were just Xanny, and I sold them more of it. And then when I had the Xannies, I crushed them up in a blunt and I dipped it in some Lane. This was in Wheeling, Illinois. And I felt like it took me a different place than the weed. The weed was good that we were smoking, but it did something different. It just, you know how people say that weed is sketchy and it's real, it makes you paranoid and it has, you know, negative side effects. I didn't feel those negative side effects. It was not a good place for us to be smoking. We were smoking in the storage room. And the storage room, if you know anything about Foxborough, shout out to Willing. If you know anything about Foxborough, I mean not Foxborough. I stayed in the VIPs at that time. And the storage rooms point outwards and it has a window. We opened the window, blew the blunt, left. That shit was super loud. I mean, and when we left out the main entrance to walk out the building, you could just, it was bad, but it was really like drinking shit that makes you relax. It was just like, it was lean. I mean, it was Zanny, you know. The thing with me is, the reason that I'm not a pill popper like that is because, I mean, you either have your muscle relaxers, pain relievers, anxiety, fucking whatever, your fucking opiates, I don't look into shit like that. Maybe in your culture you do, but a pill is a motherfucking pill to me, with the exception of the shit that at the time, you know, my pill popping days were from 15 to 19. And then I dabbled, you know, after I was 20. So everything else was just, you know, it's a fucking pill, it's medicine, whatever. If it's not lean, if it's not hydrocodone or morphine or some shit they make heroin with or make coke or make meth with, I'm cool with it. And, you know, just let me test it, let me see what's up. Boom. But yeah, that's really how I was in the mentality that I was in. Next, the trazodone and tramadol. So my sister was prescribed trazodone, tramadol, and codeine. All right. And she, at the time when I first moved with her, I didn't move in with my sister. My dad owned the house that she was staying in. She rented her room and my nephew's room. And I rented the back room, all right? And I was drinking a lot right after I got my job, of course. But she had finessed me out of some money. She told me that I asked her to front me like $10 or some shit. And I knew I didn't. She said some shit that I would have said if I was drunk. But if you know me, I am prideful. I don't much care for my sister, not my younger sister, Leah. Shout out to Leah. Shout out to Tampa. She's in college right now. But I know I didn't do that. But the look in her eyes and her energy, you know, I was meditating a lot. I knew she was lying. All right, so I gave her the fucking $10. I gave her the $10 out of the kindness of my heart because I just knew. All right, let's leave it at that. So she leaves. I ran through her shit, and this is when I was about 21. I sold the trazodone, the tramadol, and I took like 3 of each, I believe. She got them for her cramps, for her PMS. Might as well call it PTSD, right, fellas? No, I'm just playing. That's not funny. Alright, so I took them and shit. Drank about 3 beers. Yes, I was going through some shit. I was bad. Alright, I was a bad person. I'm that's just what I am at the time. So I took them. Oh, they made me feel really good. Of course, I crushed them up. Trazodone, tramadol, I looked it up. One was an antidepressant. The other one was a muscle relaxer it had ibuprofen in it, I think. And then the codeine, I didn't mix those. That's the time that I got the codeine pills and I got the lean and I put them in there. The second or third time I've ever done that. That shit's pretty cool. If you have codeine and then you can get some lean, like some promethazine, preferably. Yeah. But I did that shit and it was about 8 o'clock. I got off at 10 or 11. At 8 o'clock, I threw up in the sink. I worked at Smash Burger on Buckhead, in Buckhead, off of Sidney Marcus. Right there is a four-way intersection. If you keep taking that same street, it'll turn into Roswell Road. And there's an expressway if you go down Sidney Marcus Boulevard. Right by there's a Fifth Third Bank right there. Last time I worked there, it was. But yeah, I threw up off that shit, and after I threw up, I felt pretty goddamn good. And I told one of my managers about that the next day, and he was like, "Damn, bro, all the Georgia prisoners, they give them Trazodone and Tramadol, once a week or whatever the fuck he said." And he was just telling me, just sell them, and he bought them for me. And I don't know if he bought them for me just to throw them away or whatever, but he definitely looked out. And that's it. Klonopin, Soma, Trazodone, Tramadol, codeine. That's all that I've tried. Yeah. Alright. It's AaroniMoses. I'm off that shit. Yeah, that's it, man. Peace.